All right. Welcome everybody to the inaugural kickoff of what we're calling the Sakura Community Pool Network. And it's really a network of community projects and stake pool operators and other people that are interested in working together, trying to support one another. It was born out of two proposals in Fund 7. One was put forth by Bridge Builders, and it was called Community our SPOs supporting community projects. And it really looked at the issue of small stake pool operators struggling to mint their first block or regular blocks because they can't get delegation or struggle with that. And then there's the other problem on the other side of community projects that need kind of a regular stream of income to host or facilitate their core operations. And they're looking at stake pools as a possible alternative to Catalyst. But at the same time, it requires a certain level of technical expertise, and maybe not everyone on that project is able to commit the time or the energy to run a stake pool, because it's a IT operations kind of thing. You have to update the software, you have to monitor and do all this stuff to make it successful. So the proposal itself was about, is there a way of bringing stake pool operators who have these skills together with community projects who may have a lot of visibility in the community and potential for delegation together to be successful together? So that was kind of the exploratory proposal that Bridge Builders had put into Fund 7, and it was funded. So this has been born from this. And through our conversations, Harry and John, their group have also been funded in Fund 7 to do an SPO Impact Accelerator. And we have been talking and thought this might be a really great opportunity to combine the two in some way. So I don't know if Harry or John, you want to give a brief intro into what's coming later today?
Yeah, shall I do that bit? So this one, it's basically down really to Jonathan, this proposal, because myself and him had some conversations again back in September, October time, because we're part of another organisation. And then from it, then I had some fantastic conversations with Norrie and some other really supportive people. And that's where our proposal came from. And our proposal, because of what we do, for many years now, we've run impact incubators, and then we've run accelerators. And really what this is taking what we do in the outside world and then seeing, can we use the methodologies that we use there, can we adapt them so they fit into the Catalyst and Cardano environment, which is a very powerful thing on its own. So that's really what we were looking at. And Jonathan originally said, well, stake pool operators, and particularly little ones, they're having trouble, and maybe you could see how you can support them. And that's where it kicked off. So the idea really is this one's the incubator project, and it's just to see, can we build like a little von Neumann machine where we can take fantastic stake pool operators, put them through a bit more of the business rigor and the professionalism rigor that you need as you grow a business quite big, so that they pop out the other end, and then they can become generational. So they get in, eventually they'll then become the alumni that will be teaching the course for generations to follow. So that's what we're trying to do as a big picture. John runs and manages our incubator program and our accelerator one normally. And there are about 5 or 6 of us all together who work in a little collective outside and now inside of Catalyst. So that's that.
All right. Thanks, Harry. I'm going to share my screen and pop into the presentation at this point. Make sure I get the right browser. And then there we go. So I do have a Miro board here. Let me just post a bunch of links. So there's the slides themselves, which I'll bring up now. There's a Miro board, and then, wow, that's really confusing. And then there's a Discord server. So if you're not part of the Discord yet, that's also a place where we're going to have conversations. So and apologies one of the things I need to do really is save up enough funds to buy a new computer. My computer is really, really slow. So welcome. Sakura is a community pool network for impact. It was born out of Cardano for Climate and kind of looking at some of the stuff that the Dookie pool network was doing. And so we wanted to explore similar ideas just to expand and decentralize that experiment a little more. So that's kind of part of this. One thing I'd love to do to get us all into the mood of talking and sharing is to do a little icebreaker. So how many of us are there? 4. I'm going to break us out into tiny rooms really quick. And the question that we'll have 3 minutes to talk about is if you could go on vacation anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why? And then we'll have 3 minutes to chat about that, and then I'll bring you all back. And it's just a way to get to know each other in a small group, have a little bit of a conversation and get our talking muscles going a little bit, because I know later on we're going to have a little bit of interactive stuff going on with Harry's presentation. So I'm going to send you all over now, and if you can, come onto camera, have a chat, and then we'll come back in about 3 minutes. There we go. And hope you all had a nice little chat with each other and broke the ice a bit. So let me go back to the presentation. All right. So introduction, why are we here? We talked about that a little bit at the beginning, but this is kind of the creation of a new experiment around stake pools and community, and can we kind of have this open forum where stake pools and community projects and stuff are much closer together and talking about things and figuring out ways to collaborate and work together. And because I know there's historically been kind of a disconnect between the SPO community and Project Catalyst. And Catalyst is doing all this stuff, and it is actually a source of funding and money. And I know there's a lot of small stake pool operators that love what they're doing and are in it for various reasons, but they struggle because they don't have a really high level of delegation and their stake pools aren't generating. So it becomes kind of a part-time gig or even a money hole as you pour money into equipment and stuff, but it never brings anything back. So I would love to experiment and figure out ways where small stake pools can be more successful, and also where community projects can get involved and help them get more involved with Catalyst, and possibly through these larger communities be able to draw delegation as well, if not collaborate on projects or different things within Catalyst. So yeah, that's kind of the high level stuff. I described the 2 funded proposals that kind of made this possible, but it's really a container that we're building, and what happens within that container is really up to all of you. And so we'll get into that later on, what you need and the kinds of ideas you might have. Again, in chat, I know we have people that came in after I posted that, so let me post it again. There's links to the slides. There's a link here to the Miro board. I welcome you if you want to take notes during the conversation or have something to jot down, you can do so on the board. And then we have a Discord channel where we're going to have more conversations as we go. So I think at this point I can hand it off to Jonathan and Harry to talk about their ideas around the SPO Impact Accelerator. Do you guys want me to just keep presenting and forward the slides, or do you want to present yourselves?
I think it's probably easier if we control that, or at least at least I do. Harry's a bit of a nightmare with technology. You'll be pleased to hear, but I should be able to manage.
Okay, I'll stop sharing at this point.
Cool.
Yeah, give him Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, harsh but fair. Yeah, harsh but fair.
Okay. So can everyone see the proper presentation slide, not my presenter notes slides?
Yep.
Cool. Great. Okay, yeah, well, thank you, Nori, for kind of giving us this platform to talk to all of you today. I think it's going to be a really useful learning exercise for myself and Harry, just to kind of fine tune what we're doing and make sure we're actually building something of real value for yourselves and for the Cardano community. So before we get kind of too much into our project and what we're doing, I would just like to start by asking a couple of open questions that kind of get a bit of a discussion going. So the first one that I'd like to ask you all is, what does an impact-driven SPO mean to you? And in particular, what does impact mean? I kind of want to get a picture of what motivates you as an SPO, what you're trying to achieve and kind of impact. So I'll leave the floor open to whoever wants to chime in, and feel free.
Jonathan?
Or get called out by Harry.
Yeah.
Okay. Just Jonathan.
It's revenge. I didn't say anything about your tech skills, Harry. Come on. So to me, an impact-driven SPO has some kind of agenda, whether that is a charitable one, or an environmental one, or a network sustained. So this decentralization, fair distribution, resilience from attack or aggressive government action. So all these are agendas that stateful operators may have, and that may resonate with stake or delegators. So for me, I particularly like the idea of blockchain empowering the impoverished. So getting this flow of wealth and value generation that is within crypto and blockchain tech as it grows and develops, and distributing the wealth to developing nations in particular, and seeing the digital divide, the bias that's within, and prejudice within the human family, just spreading out some of the wealth and reducing the pain for the whole race of humanity. So with my pool, I give charitably to an school in Ethiopia, who are they receive funding from this platform that I use called B1G1 for providing internet and ICT access to kids from rural Ethiopia.
Cool, amazing. Cool. So yeah, so I think the key one there is having an agenda, and also in particular something that resonates with other people. So it's all well and good having kind of a cause that you really care about, but if it doesn't resonate with other people, then you're gonna be struggling to kind of get people to delegate and actually contribute to solving that problem. Does anyone else have any other kind of comments, anything to add, and anything they disagree with? Do they have a different definition?
So I'll pipe in here. Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything that Jonathan said. It's fantastic, and our pool here, we've been donating proceeds from our pool to local charities here in Ottawa, mainly supporting the food bank and homeless shelters here in the local communities. So that's kind of been our focus. But one of the things that we're really trying to do is introduce the blockchain technology to people who are not necessarily tech savvy. So we're trying to, I don't know, I guess, dumb it down so that the average person can understand it, and they don't get lost in the proof of work, and I'm trying to understand hash rates and all that stuff. We're trying to really keep it simple. So one of the things we're actually developing is a simple wallet viewer as well, that we're going to push out hopefully this year, that sort of brings the world of Cardano into a similar financial view for people, so they can see their wallet and their rewards and everything in like a ledger that's more like what you would see if you log into your local banking, for example. So yeah, we're really focused on trying to just spread the concepts of crypto to the average person who's not super tech savvy, but still wants to be involved. They want to feel like they get it without having to be technical. So yeah, that's where we're trying to focus on, and more in the local community here as opposed to more of a global outreach.
Yeah, well, that's a shame, because I could definitely use some of that help over here in the UK. So I might have to pop over to Ottawa to speak to you guys. But yeah, so that's really interesting actually. So it's not necessarily just you know necessarily traditional charitable causes. It's also about accessibility to the technology and allowing others to really understand the potential of the technology so they can build for themselves. So I think those are two really useful kind of definitions of what impact means to some of you.
Sorry, John.
Yeah.
I just need to step in for a second because I'm doing the moderator stuff, which is fabulous, and I really need to give some insight for Abe. Abe, you've done a fantastic bit in the chat, but the problem is, as Felix and Nori know, I can go through a whole session before I find the chat button. So if you could do us a favor and just talk us through your point, I think that'd be fabulous.
Of course. Yeah, originally when my brother, my sister are on the call too, Ben and Lauren, originally when we started operating in Cardano middle of last year, and I heard impact, I always viewed it as rather broad, and basically any effort where there's a positive externality, you're giving back in some way with a charity or cleaning something up or what have you. But last several weeks into months, I've spent a lot of time with carbon neutral Cardano and Christian over there, and Nori and the team over at Cardano for Climate. And now when I hear impact, I think very specifically towards climate impact, because that's most often how I hear it phrased. I think that's just how my brain is picking it up right now. I don't know that I have that narrow of a view of it, but when I hear it, that's where my mind goes, is climate crisis.
Fabulous.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's really interesting, because that means we've got three quite separate and distinct kind of personal definitions of impact. But I think they kind of represent three particularly kind of important, pillars. Nora, you've got your hand raised. Do you have anything to add, or was that to draw attention to the chat?
No, yeah, I just wanted to talk about Salmon Pool was nominally kind of created to support the operations of the Salmon Nation Decentralized Alliance, which is a group that's looking to use blockchain technologies to help solve local issues in the Salmon Nation bioregion, which stretches from Alaska down the west coast of Canada to northern US. Using salmon as kind of what ties that bioregion together. But really it's looking at things like decentralization, decarbonization, which is the climate stuff, and then decolonization as well, which is kind of indigenous stuff that's going on. And right now in Canada and probably the US, there's a large kind of focus on indigenous reconciliation because of colonial activities that have basically wiped out a whole bunch of culture and stolen land, and really getting to grips with the history of all that, and what do we as settlers here on unceded territory, especially in Canada, what's our responsibility to the ancient peoples that lived and cared for this land over time. And now we're kind of interloping, although we own our houses and live and play and work here, it's not without its costs in the past. So that's kind of some of those things, and really looking, how can blockchain actually help? Can it help restore languages by making sure it's stored on blockchain, or store stories, or the really oral history of stuff on blockchain as recordings or videos, or just different applications, or all kinds of things that we're exploring. But there's also People I talked to, I had lunch yesterday with somebody who's doing a carbon exchange program where they're creating a way of verifying and doing carbon stuff. And they're not the only ones in the world doing this, but they're a local company trying to do it because they woke up one morning with forest fire smoke coming from all sides, and it's becoming a regular thing in Canada now. And that was their turning point. They're like, this is serious, we need to do something. So just trying to organize all those people into some kind of a network to help save the world, I guess, is one of the higher level goals of our group. But it's also like Johnny said, it's about education too. So going out to the community and doing basic blockchain education. And we also now host the Pacific Town Hall, which is a kind of a time for Cardano people to come together and chat at a time that's more convenient for people on the west coast of North America, or even in Asia, parts of New Zealand, Australia.
Cool. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so I think we've got a pretty good picture of what impact means to different people within this. I think it's interesting. Again, we've kind of covered a few different topics, but essentially they're all causes close to our heart, or that we believe in, that they have a kind of a meaningful change, a meaningful impact around the world and can actually change things. So my next question is thinking about your kind of personal purpose and your involvement with your SPO. Where do you want to be in a year's time? So where do you see yourselves and your group, your stake pool? Where do you see that in a year's time? And kind of what does that look and feel like to you? And if someone just wants to kind of share an example, that'd be wonderful. Or I suppose the other question is, has anyone actually thought in a year's time, or are you too busy kind of focusing on the now to really build that longer term plan? Because I suppose that's another interesting question to ask.
For me, at a very high level in a year, one of my goals is to get to 1 million ADA delegation, just so that we can fairly regularly maybe have a 50% chance of minting a block. And we're a quarter of the way there now, so we're on our way, but it's definitely like, how do you get that delegation? And how do you compete against all the Sunday swaps and scooping and all the stuff that's drawing delegation away from pools? And yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, but it really boils down to be sustainable, we need delegation. And how do we get more of that?
Sure. Abe, you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, I mean, that's where my mind goes to, Nori. 1 million, maybe 2 million would be nice. I don't have any aspirations of getting anywhere near saturated. I think that's beyond my comprehension at this time. But yeah, the world of cryptocurrency moves so fast. A year feels like an eternity almost. But if I had to put my hat on something, about 1 million ADA, yeah. So you could make a block every epoch.
Sure. Felix, you were next with your hand raised.
My perspective, one of the main ambitions by setting up the Swarm pool as a part of Ryoki was also to say, okay, how can we directly communicate and coordinate with the entities as well? Because we come to the point where we want mission and vision community pools. Very often they are really bad at marketing, and the entities control a lot of budget, a lot of delegations, and they are definitely able to send strong messages out there, but they are not doing it. End of the year, I would definitely love to see, well, I envision myself to have established some strong communication and coordination streams between stake pool operators and the entities as well, especially when it goes into mission and vision driven pools. And this is where Swarm Pool goes into as well, as a social financial funding mechanism as its own.
Okay. Reese, you're next.
Hey, you're right, guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit late to the call, so I might have missed the context for the question, but I can tell you what happened to me in the last year. So when I kind of started the stake pool a month after Shelley, and initially it was just to give it a try and kind of see what happened, right? I wanted to just help contribute to the network. And since then, I've gone from just running cloud servers to thinking about the implications of decentralization and kind of the various different levels of it. And now I run a bare metal pool. I run off Solar. I contribute to documentation for other like stake pool communities and stuff, and it's been a really good way to kind of get involved in the community and kind of meet loads of people, right, who have the same kind of goals and aspirations as myself. What I do want to get out of the next year is to kind of take that further. So right now I'm part of the carbon neutral group. And so they're trying to figure out a kind of community driven donation thing for basically planting or reforestation in certain areas of the world. And so getting more involved in that is like a really big thing for me. And the more I've spoken with those guys, the more I've found that's kind of important to me, because I've got a pool, I mint blocks, I'm not, the delegation comes and goes, especially with ISPOs and stuff, it's up, it's down, it's all over the place. So any consistent level is the wrong goal from my perspective. But what I am very conscious of is how I can help use this position that I have to help build a better community inside Cardano and outside of the ecosystem as well. So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
Cool, thank you. Johnny, you're next.
Yeah, so I guess in the next year or so, now that I guess we're getting into the post-pandemic era, we're hoping to be able to hold more local events. Like I have a buddy who owns a brewery, like a microbrewery, so we're hoping to be able to have maybe a monthly Cardano event at his brewery and really focus on introducing the community to Cardano specifically, and some of the benefits that Cardano brings, like the proof of stake and everything about it. Yeah, there will definitely be beer. But yeah, so that's kind of our goal is over the next year. Like I'll be honest, we're not necessarily in this to make money. So whether like when we're able to drop the fixed pool fee, we're gonna do that because we're not necessarily here. Like I'm running bare metal, we've purchased our hardware. We're not here running this as a business. We're here running this as trying to benefit the community and get people involved, because I really do see this as a technology of the future. And I feel bad for people who are being left behind just because they're not technically savvy. So that's going to be our goal for the next year.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we've got a kind of few different ones here. So we've got some who just want to increase the amount of ADA they're handling. We've got some who are kind of more focused on developing kind of their operations and processes to put it in one way and just kind of scale up what they're doing at the moment. So thinking about that, what would you say at the moment is stopping you from being able to achieve that? So what are kind of the blockers? Importantly, what needs to change for you to be able to actually get to where you want to be in a year's time? Yes, Felix.
To the point when we say, yeah, okay, and also the entities IOGCF, they want to support mission-driven, vision-driven pools. The problem is nobody knows what it means. What the heck is a mission-vision-driven pool? What the heck is a vision-driven pool? Nobody knows it. And I think this is something what is really stopping us, that at least we have this responsibility from us, from the community, to define in action what is a mission-driven pool, what is a vision-driven pool, not as a cold theory, but never apply it. But I think we do not coordinate. And there might be a bunch of great examples already out there who explain really well for one part or another part how such a pool could look like, but we fail, I think, in stopping ourselves by not coordinating.
Cool, thank you. That's interesting. Does anyone else have anything to anything you're dealing with at the moment or struggling with that's kind of causing you a lot of issue, or a lot of hands raised there. Johnny, you were first.
Yeah, okay. So I think the biggest issue that I'm finding right now is the time commitment involved in keeping up with everything that's going on. Like I got kids at home, I got a full-time job. Initially when we started out, it was a Cardano node, and now there's so much more involved with like the NFT communities and the DEXs going on and the ISPOs, and it's a challenge to not be left behind. So I think just the time commitment, getting involved in some of these projects is where our sort of limit is right now.
Cool. Okay, thank you. Jonathan, you're next on my screen.
Yeah, I echo that. Exactly. It's time, it's hours in the day. It's a real struggle. So for me, in a year, I'd like to be a place where I've brought in new meat to the market, if you know what I mean. So it's not just stealing delegates from other pools, it's actually bringing in people from the exchanges and so forth. And that requires education about the difference between yeeting into crypto on Binance and actually approaching decentralization as a force for good, and then bringing them into self custody of their own wallets, and that whole education path that needs to happen before people feel confident enough to delegate to a pool when they're not techie people is a long process and hard work. So yeah, that's the challenge. Let alone going to market.
Thank you.
Market.
Yeah. Thank you. Abe, please.
Yeah, I really resonate with all that as well. I mean, we're all always talking about bandwidth, right? That's what it boils down to. What can be my return on investment for this hour that I have here, or weekend there? But Jonathan, I think you really hit the nail on the head with onboarding external parties, right? And that's a daunting project. When I've tried to engage with friends and non-crypto natives, I have to preface that, listen, if you really want to learn about this, and Cardano, where I'm particularly operating, we're going to have 4 separate 1-hour conversations, because I can't explain it to you all in one setting. Your head's going to spin. And you also have to judge where they are. Have they only ever heard the word Bitcoin before, or have they looked into blockchain a little bit too? What's their basis of knowledge, and where to go from there? And I think that's a really tough nut to crack of how to relate blockchain technologies and what Cardano is doing, or what one of us in the space is doing, to basically lay people in a way that's digestible. And if we can figure out a way to really communicate that effectively, efficiently, boy, you could really bring in a lot of people really quickly, I think.
Cool. All right. Thank you all for sharing that. That's an interesting insight. And I think time commitment for a lot of people is always a challenge. And so if we, as you said, if we crack that nut, and the how to communicate blockchain to people like me, then I think we're definitely onto a winner. Cool. All right. So final question then.
We got Johnny first. I'm really enjoying the power of this. Yeah, the massive power. So Johnny's still got his hand up. Sorry, John.
Oh, that was my bad. I just didn't realize I had to put it down.
Oh no, don't blow it. I was doing so well. Don't go and give John all the stuff back. No.
Brilliant. Cool. Okay, so yeah, one final question, and then I promise we'll get into the point of why we're here. After all that, then you've kind of listed the challenges, the struggles you've been having. So why small SPOs? Why do we bother? What kind of keeps us going? Yes, Johnny, your hand. I assume this is on purpose this time.
Yeah, for me, it's the technology. I mean, As a day job, I'm an application architect, so I love this type of stuff. And when I see the power that the blockchain has to empower so many aspects of our life, I just want to be involved. And Cardano specifically, I mean, I've been following it for a few years, and the way it has like the deterministic smart contracts and the proof of stake, like there's so many aspects to Cardano, like it's academic first as opposed to like build first, fix later type thing. It's just there's so many components to this particular project that have drawn me in, and I really just want to be a part of it going forward. And I think if we can bring, like everybody said, bring more people into the space and have everybody realize the power of it, I think that's sort of, yeah, why I'm doing this.
Cool. Thank you. Reese, you're up next. Oh, Johnny, don't forget to take your hand down. Otherwise, Harry will call you back on you.
Yeah, for me, it's about contribution. You know, I didn't come to this space with or into Cardano at all with any kind of tech background. I'm a gymnast and a personal trainer, and I just wanted to do more than just buy and hold some stuff, right? So I kind of took it on myself to learn as much as I could, and I was lucky to have cybersecurity systems administrators, developers like around me, like my clients, who that I could basically harass for the information I needed so I could learn the right things. And since then, I just, that contribution is what drives me. You know, I want to be a part of this ecosystem. I want to be one of the people who is supporting the ecosystem, and that goes beyond just stake pool. You know, that's working in Catalyst, like Felix, like Nori, like Jonathan. It's contributing with services. I've been learning Plutus and Atala, and like it's just the whole ecosystem I want to be a part of. I'm not worried about being a small SPO. I'm not worried about not minting blocks because I don't really have any overheads. It's more just about being involved and being a part of this movement for me.
Cool. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Abe.
Yeah. My brother Ben, he hopped off the call, it looked like, but he brought my sister and I into this originally. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that all three of us like a challenge, and that's why we dove in here and we wanted to give it a shot. And we've definitely realized the potential of blockchain technology and ways that it can transform the world, and we want to be a part of that. But once we were here, particularly with Cardano, what drives me now is the community, the passion that you see, the amazing people that you can meet and really see eye to eye with, and there's just so much passion and optimism and hope in the Cardano community, and it's just very enriching and stimulating to be a part of. So same as what a lot of you have said, we want to be here because it's a really wonderful place to be.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Abe. Felix, you're next.
Can just second what was mentioned so far. I mean, beautiful contributions, really. And additional to it, I think, yeah, there's for me, proof of stake is not only stake pools, but stake pools as a first tool to implement proof of stake into a first, let's say, pilot in this regard. I'm really interested in figuring out why stake pools are okay. I think there's a lot of creative space not explored yet, especially when it comes in governance as well, where I think stake pools can give a really great guidance and opportunity to explore maybe total other stuff than only stake pools, but maybe stake pools will teach us where to go.
Brilliant, thank you. And Nori, last but not least.
Yeah, I think people have covered it, but I really love what everyone said. For me personally, I got involved because, like Reese, I wanted to understand it all. I wanted to get involved. So I'm actually inserting myself into so many places in the community just to learn. And it started out with being curious and wanting to find out what this was about and how it worked. And stake pools are a key technical component, and it's really deep and it has really complicated bits to it. But And it's good to participate and help decentralize the network and do that. And now Salmon Pool is actually, especially Brian here, he's built out some tooling and stuff, which makes it really easy for us to script up and fire up new stake pools as well. So we've started offering it as a service to some community groups who want a stake pool but don't have the IT skills to really run it. So being able to help in that way, it's not really a money-making scheme because we're small stake pools and it doesn't bring in a whole lot of money, but it does allow us to have other people participate and expand the network that way. And yeah, now that I'm in and doing stuff, it's really about the community. And as Abe said, it's about, yeah, the hope. And really the stuff we're doing is creating a brand new, like civilization 2.0 kind of potential kind of stuff. And that's what's really driving me around the governance, the technology and how it enables all of this with decentralized identity and governance and all of that. So that's really my passion here and what keeps me going.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So those are the last of my questions, you'll be glad to hear. And now it moves more into Harry's presentation, which will be just as interesting. That took a little bit longer than I was expecting, but I just want to say thank you for all kind of contributing. That was a really interesting discussion, and that's definitely already helped us a lot just to understand you guys better and kind of some of your needs. But for the time being, I will pass on to Harry to take the mic. I will be in control of the slides. So Harry, just let me know when you want me to switch over.
Yeah, boom, Jonathan, boom. So we can zip through this stuff. Can we do the next slide then? Yeah, so this was the why bother. Yeah, because you guys are mission critical and you've raised a lot of the points. Now, I'll front this up. We've got about 10 minutes left, so that's cool. I'll front this up. What we're trying to do, when we do what we do, it's the same as when you guys do what you do. You start off with a problem that you want to solve. So first thing you should do a fact find and find out what's going on. You work out where you are. Then you'll do, that's an audit. Then you'll do a vision. So that's the current reality. Then you'll do an end goal of where you want to be. And then you'll do the bridge, which is how you're going to get there. Well, this is what we're doing with you guys. We're trying to help and support in that space of Catalyst and Cardano, and it's particularly through the lens of stake pool operators, and it's particularly through the lens of small ones. Yeah. Now, why do we bother? So that's the fact find. So, and we don't mind if we take the whole session and all we do is hear what you guys need and are talking about and what are your issues. Yeah, because we're not here to tell you stuff. We're here to learn. And that's really the whole point of the incubator, the little program we're doing. When we take people onto that program, at the end of it, they will have gone through that same process. You know, where are we now? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? And that in particular is John's expertise running that sort of stuff. But that's the gig, really. That's what we want to know. What we know, and I pulled up one of the slides I did in 2001. And it was a slide for MCI WorldCon where I was running their business and e-business consultancy then. And it just had that little stack on it. It started off, you know, with a telecom stack where we were all very pissed off because we got a telecom stack. And on top of that, then suddenly there appeared this bloody internet stack and an app stack. And on top of that was apps. And on top of that then was businesses and communities. And this is the thing about you guys being mission critical. That stack has changed and we've got a newer version of it, which we won't show you tonight because it's what Al's been working on with you guys a bit. But basically, if we do that next slide, you've said this all to us already. You guys are the mycelial network. If we do the Star Trek fun, you guys are that little mushroom network, yeah? You cut into everything. You start from the top and you go down from that stock from community, down through to business, down then through to, in this space, it'll be application layer, and then down into, you know, a consequence layer, whatever, down into the features layer, and down into the infrastructure. And you guys are some of the few people that understand that transition from business right the way, or community, right the way down to the super techie stuff. And then you also understand it the other way up, don't you? From the bottom up to the top. So unfortunately, or fortunately, what, you know, it's just to give you a bit of a lesson and a message. You guys are not normal. You are far from normal because there aren't many people in that space where, as Nori said, where you guys are, where you understand people and you understand a supply community, you understand a business community, and you understand a customer community. So supply chain management, ERP or ERM, and then out to customer stuff. And you also you understand the technology. So you're massively valuable. And this is what I learned 20 odd years ago. The role you play is massively valuable. And you guys know that. So we won't spend any time on this, but the fact is, there are different environments you live in. You live in that Cardano operations focus. If you guys aren't there, there is no network. I can be a little bit Tourettesy. There's no fucking network. Simple as that. If this doesn't work, you end up with a centralized network, which is very vulnerable. And that's the constant attractor, isn't it? The next one then, as we said, so you sit in that space, but you have impact. For us is this business about people, planet, purpose, and performance and profit. So that's what impact means. It means running to the future and pulling back benefits. So it's a time-bound thing. So it's short and long term, but it's across those different areas. So that's what we would say impact is about. And all the stuff all you guys do, it all fits in that space. So the program, when we run it, is a bit around getting that you guys understanding what your own purpose is and what your own cause is. And again, you've expressed it all, how your purpose sits in next to your causes. So some of you want to do, and we had some fun with this with Jonathan before, some of you want to be out there and you want to be Lambos because you want the money. Some people want to be out there and they want to be kudos because they'd like the respect. Some are out there and we call them nobos, which is gnosis, which is they like the learning. Some are out there and they want to become wos because they want to do community. The point for us in the program is it's totally doable to take the causes and then your personal purposes and run that through how to give you a level of sustainability, business and everything else, so you still survive. So that's me compressing a lot of the slides, but basically that's it, because what you guys said as well, it starts off in that little bit about, and what got us really interested, and I have to say, Jonathan was very eloquent with it. What starts off is the issue is that you're trying to run a techie thing, but you're super bright people. So if you're not invested at some level where you get a return, you stop doing the super techie thing. And that's one of the issues, isn't it? Is how do you keep running as a professional organization? And that's what we said. So it doesn't mean you want to run a big business. Like some of you said, you do it for the experience. However, there is a way of enabling it so that you guys can grow a professional organization, even if it's only got 2 of you in, so that you can achieve the aims that you want. And that's what this program's about, really. There's some simple stuff that we help businesses through. It's not rocket science. It's slightly different to the normal way of looking at the world. And generally it involves building in this business about, there's a commercial view of the world, and that's all about money. And then there's a cultural view of the world, and that's all about well-being. And impact is generally still measured in commercial impact and not cultural impact. And most of what you guys deliver is cultural. 80% of the value of businesses when they're sold now, 80% of it is missing. When the accountants look at it, when they look at the assets, the things you can kick, it's 20% of the value. That means 80% is all the brilliance that you guys do. That's our main tenets, really. You've got the slides, they'll be sent out. But the first one was, and you nailed it, it's about, you're all over the place. You get to talk to your family. You get to go and explain to me and John what blockchain's about and why you would do it. The bit for us then, what we were disappointed with in that little space was just about, okay, you're only thinking, some people are only thinking about ADA, and it's how can we market better so we can eat the lunch, as you guys said. How can we steal someone else's ADA, in effect, from another stake pool? You guys have a massive opportunity, what you were all saying, to go out there and help educate and drive this thing about what is the impact of blockchain. And you can do that in a Cardano space, which is you're going out and talking to ADA holders, other investors, people who are in Bitcoin. That's the potential. That's, you guys are the vanguard, and you're that the huge mycelial network. So we've got about 3 minutes left, but that's all my slides basically for today. So if I hand back over to John, he'll just give you a quick thing about what the what this incubator is about. You're muted, John. For a millennial, you're a complete
My God,
failure. I have to tell you, as a millennial, that's incredibly disappointing to see.
No one's more disappointed than I am, Harry, believe me. He's not going to let me forget that one. So yeah, to quickly round up, so what we're doing at the moment is running or preparing the MVP for an SPO incubator. We got funding in the F7 round to take what we're already doing with some of our clients outside of Cardano and adapting the contents of our Impact Leaders program to the needs of the SPO community, in particular small SPOs on the Cardano blockchain. And essentially our goal with this program is to help people or provide a structured program for individuals to build sustainable, impactful organizations so that they can support and deliver on their mission, vision, and purpose, and also support the development and adoption of Cardano. So essentially, what will help you do if you want to take part in the incubator is help you map out your journey. So agree where it is you're trying to get to, outline what you actually need to do to get there, build up what we call a playbook on how you're going to do it, and then understand what it is in particular about you individually, but also you as an organization, your skills, your attributes, your knowledge, what it is that makes you brilliant at what you do, and leverage that to help you achieve your purpose. And then we help you understand who the people you need around you to deliver on that journey. And then we give you some tools to test and measure your progress and iterate and learn as you go along and flex your approach to how you do it. So to give you an overview, this is one of the tools we use. It looks a bit complicated, but actually when you go through it, it's just a very structured formula. And so this is a 360 dashboard, and it helps you measure your purpose and your worth. So it's your cultural and commercial wealth. And essentially what we do with businesses is we help them take an impact view of their business growth. So it's thinking about the kind of people, planet, performance, and profit. So it's the quadruple bottom line, one more than the triple bottom line. But it's really helping people understand that actually these days value is generated just beyond the balance sheet. It's about how you structure your organization, how you treat your people, how you handle learning and development. So there's a lot more to it. And what we're hoping to do with this program is adapt this so that it's suitable for small SPOs. So it's a bit of a handbook, roadmap, tool to measure the development of small SPOs to deliver on their impact, which is the stuff we were talking about at the beginning. So to get kind of specific about how this program works, so we're aiming for 10 participants for this cohort. And what happens is we'll send out a link for a light audit, which is just a type form. You fill out the questions and then we generate a report for you. It gives you a kind of heat map of how you're performing at the moment. And then we go into an 8-week program where there's one 90-minute online workshop per week. We keep it interactive and engaging, and you come away having spoken for 90 minutes, not just received a lecture. There's a couple of take-home activities in between sessions to help you apply what we do in the session to your organization. And you're looking at approximately 2 to 3 hours of commitment per week, which I know could be a challenge for some of you. You've already outlined that, but ultimately we're aiming to make this a very impactful 2 to 3 hours of your week that moves you forward as an organization and moves you closer to your goals. And we'll also assign each participant with a coach. It'll probably be me or Harry, to be honest. So I hope you like one of us. And we'll just support you through the journey. We'll help you answer any questions and kind of help you learn as we're going along, and also get feedback from you about how we can improve the program, because right now we know it's right for a certain group of people and we're trying to translate it to a completely different group. So there's definitely things that we need to change. But ultimately, what we're trying to do is help you align your personal purpose without your SPO, without your stake pool, with the wider SPO community as well. And really, as we've kind of discussed, helped you communicate what you're trying to do in a way that makes sense for people and ultimately gets you more delegated in the long run. So this program what we think it will help you do is help you to define and outline your own personal purpose and develop a pathway to align that with your business or state pool. We then want to help you map out a vision for how you can use your state pool operations, your expertise and passion to develop a sustainable business model that allows you to grow so you can support your purpose as well as the whole ecosystem at large. And then ultimately put in place a robust plan to help you achieve that vision and give you kind of the knowledge and tools you need to kind of make that journey. This is a bit blurry, I'm sure, but we've got a Miro board. We'll send all the links out to everything afterwards so you can take a look at it. But this is a rough roadmap of what we're anticipating to happen. So there's 4 main modules. We'll help you do an audit, which is kind of understanding where you are now. And then we turn that into an operational vision. So we look at where you want to take what you're doing now, find where the gaps are, and help you build a plan to fill those gaps. And then we help you kind of reimagine your vision and purpose. So think bigger, think better, and think more impactful. And then finally, the final module is about your leadership and management team. So that's understanding who you need around you to help you deliver on that vision. And if that requires a different skill set to that you've got already. And then we do a bit of a group celebration at the end. And at the end of the program, we'll produce a report with our findings and any adaptations we think are necessary for the program. But really, this is just the first phase in a longer vision for us. So right now in F7, we've received the funding for the MVP build of this program, which is where we are at the moment. Phase 2 in F8, we're looking to turn this into a fully fleshed out product, taking the learnings from the MVP to make sure we've got a fit for purpose program that is really impactful and really valuable to the community. And then phase 3, we're looking to develop some train the trainer programs so that for instance, we're in talks with WADA about how we can develop a program for them so that they can start delivering this program in Africa. And we're going to be looking at developing partnerships with other organizations so we can take this to other parts of the globe as well. And then finally, phase 4 is really making this generational. So start building this within the community so that the people so it's run for the community by the community, and we can step back, we can chip in if we're needed to help, but ultimately this should be run by participants of previous cohorts for the next generation. So we keep that learning within the community, but also make sure that, as you've said, one of the main reasons you keep going is you like the community, you like the engagement. And if we can build this in as well, I think that's just added value for everyone. So to sum up, some next steps. So if you're interested in taking part, there's a link to our light audit there. As I said before, it's just a type form. It will take you kind of 10-15 minutes to fill out. And then we have to do it manually at the moment, but we'll send you a report with our findings, and we'll organize a 1-hour webinar where we can go through your reports, find out what some gaps are, look at where we might be able to help you. And then if you're interested in going on to the full program, we'll proceed with the onboarding process there. At the moment, we're looking at a start date for the week commencing the 25th of April, an 8-week program. So it will be ending around the 26th of June, week commencing the 20th of June. We'll keep it open for the moment, just so we get a better understanding of where people will be joining us from, so we can make sure that as many people can join as possible and at reasonable hours. We don't want anyone getting up at 4 a.m. or whatever to jump on a call. And for more information about us, so this presentation will be sent out afterwards. You can find us, we've got a website, we've just opened a Twitter, and as the resident millennial in the group, I'll be running that. So feel free to follow that for me moaning mostly, I think. And then there's also a link to our project proposal on Idea Scale, and then a link to our roadmap and course overview on Miro. But that's me done. I realize we've kind of overrun slightly, but again, I'd just like to say thank you for giving us this platform and for engaging all at the beginning. I hope this is something that is of interest to you. I know it delivers a lot of value for a lot of people already, and we're really keen to find out how we can adapt this to help solve some of the problems you're facing. I don't think they're entirely unique to your community, but there's definitely some work that needs to go, and we'd love your help to help us get there. So yeah, thank you. and I'll hand back to Nori to kick us out.
All right, amazing, John and Harry. Thank you for that. And yeah, next steps. I'll also share these slides. We have a Discord server that we've started up, so I'll put them in a channel there. And just for kind of to close this up, I just want to leave everybody with some questions to ponder. The first one is
to stop sharing. Sorry.
Sure. Maybe I could share my screen.
There we go.
Just to put it up there. And I promise this will be quick. Except for my computer being really slow. So the questions are, the big one is who is missing today? So this is our kickoff, and there were a few notices dropped in a couple of channels about this happening, but I know that there's a lot of SPOs out there that could benefit from this, specifically the course, but also the community that's forming here around the Sakura concept. So please think about who is missing, and every one of us has our own SPO communities and groups that we work closely with. So feel free to reach out, spread the news, and invite people in. And then question is, how will you get them involved? So think about that. And then what are our next steps? And there was one call to action to fill out the form and sign up for this course. But on a larger scale, I'm also curious about this as a kind of ongoing SPO community project, impact-driven community around this. So what if there's needs to chat or meet on a semi-regular basis or whatever, I'm open to having those discussions. And please do drop into the Discord, and maybe we can chat there asynchronously around thoughts and ideas and hopes and dreams for this group that's forming here today. But, yeah, thanks everybody for coming.
Nori, if possible, I'd just like to say that from our point of view, well, firstly, thanks for inviting us in to talk to your communities, which is a big deal. But equally, we're in the space of providing education and content to allow SPOs to grow and reach their potential and provide education and content. So your container, this Sakura, for us, as we've talked about, it makes it so easy because we don't have to worry about finding all the brilliant people. We don't have to worry about all that stuff. We can just focus on how can we make it so we could deliver something that adds value. So Sakura for us in that content, relationship building space, it's brilliant. It made our job for this F7 proposition so much easier having you guys there. And that'll be the same for other providers as well. So.
Absolutely. And yeah, the synergies and working together is totally why we're here. And I should also mention that the Bridge Builders SPO supporting community projects was another funded proposal. So we do have funds set aside for this group to form and storm and figure out what we're doing. So if anybody in this group, or of anybody who really would be interested in taking up the torch and really diving in, there is incentivization available for you to spend time figuring stuff out or organizing meetings or herding the cats. So there's budget there. So I just want to put that out there too. We have been funded on a couple of fronts here, so we can make a really good go at this. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming. And I know we're over time, so I don't want to keep us longer, but I just want to remind everybody about the Discord server. We can continue to work asynchronously. I will post the recording of this video there as well, so those who couldn't join us can at least see what was going on. And I will post the slides from today there as well, so that you all can get to the links and the forms and things that we mentioned. All right. Any closing thoughts from anybody else? If not,
I'd just like to say thanks again. And also, if anyone has any further questions about the program or anything else, then we're in the Discord server and I'd be happy to answer any questions there. So yeah, ping me, let me know if you like the presentation, and let me know if you didn't, and I'll be in the space.
And when I can work out what Discord is, I'm happy to do the same.
It's good you have a millennial teammate there, Harry, who can help you out. All right, thanks everybody. I really appreciate you all coming and taking the time and engaging. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nori.